Good morning, everyone. Welcome to the TradeStation Masterclass. Today's Monday, October 24th, and we're ready for our first session of the Masterclass for this week. Thank you guys for being here. Today, we're going to do a Platform Essentials class. We're going to highlight a feature that I like a lot, which is keyboard trading. The ability for you to place trades with just a hotkey on your keyboard. Let's take a look at that. But before we do so, let's do the usual introductions and disclosures. My name is Jesus Nava. I'm the Director of Client Training and Education for TradeStation Securities. And as you guys know, it's always great to be here talking about TradeStation's technology. Also, just a disclosure statement, keep in mind that every symbol and idea that I talk about is for educational purposes only. It is not a recommendation of TradeStation. Also, active trading is not suitable for everyone. It should only be done with the risk capital, and past historical performance is no guarantee of future results. Let's go ahead and talk about keyboard trading. Just pull up my TradeStation. I'm going to log in. I think I clicked on work offline, which is okay. It'll just pull up TradeStation. I just have to connect again. And I've done that a couple times this past couple weeks. Never happened before. So let's go ahead and wait. Let me double click on these radio buttons or indicator buttons at the bottom right. And that brings the login window one more time. So you don't have to shut down and reopen TradeStation. You can just use the little indications or indicators at the bottom right corner. Log on. There we go. All right. In the meantime, you guys, you can send questions in the chat if you want me to address any particular order example. At this, I'm also going to give you guys the ability to use your microphones. These classes, tend to be manageable. So if you guys have any questions, you just feel free to raise your hand. There's a raise hand button right there in Zoom. That'll catch my attention and I can call you by name, okay? Right here in my TradeStation, let's go ahead and undock my trade bar and undock my position graph bar. And let's start off with a chart analysis window. Why is it that I'm opening up a chart analysis window? Because keyboard trading, or at least the type of keyboard trading that I'm going to show you today, is all in in chart trading. So this is a feature that is only accessible within chart trading. We have another area of order entry macros that are also triggered by keyboard kind of hotkeys, but this is not it. This is a separate functionality. The idea was for this feature to replace the old feature, but it hasn't. I know that there was some development work done on this feature that I'm going to show you today. I wish more would have been done in this area, but a lot of these projects, were put to the side for whatever reason. And there's still a lot of things that I wish, the keyboard trading functionality had that it doesn't. We're going to go through it, and I'm going to show you various examples where you can see where an enhancement would have been great. But as I said before, I do a session where we talk about macros and we separate them into command line macros and order entry macros. This functionality that I'm going to show you today is completely different than that and is run completely different. Let's go ahead and talk about it. Let me open up chart trading first. So you do need to enable chart trading because this feature is built in to chart trading. So, okay, I have a position there on Spider, which is okay. And I just don't see the option here. Did something happen here that I wasn't aware of? This is version 77. maybe something happened here. And you know what? That I may have caused the problem here. If you guys remember in one of our sessions, I believe it was last Friday that we did this. Now that I think about it, I imported my analysis techniques from a file that it was called TS Pro, that ELD. And I explained that, yeah, that file, it's there for you to import anything that is built into TradeStation that's probably messed up. I think that chart trading is one of the indicators that is part of that ELD file, the TS Pro, that ELD. And what I think it's happening here is that I don't have the most recent version of chart trading. It appears that the chart trading that I have here, maybe the old one that was inside of that ELD file, which overwrote what I had in here. Remember that dialogue that I got when I imported that said, hey, this indicator already exists in the location that you are trying to import it to. What would you like to do? And I picked, yes, to replace all. And this could have caused this problem that I see right now. So maybe it wasn't such a good idea to import everything. Maybe the idea is to go in there. Oh, Rich, you
Yeah.
said you have version 8.
My version says version 110.
110.
Yep.
Okay, so, and Rich says version 85. Mine says version 87. Interesting. So if I go here to help, let's see what happens if I go to help. I don't think there is a way for me to update it to the most recent version without maybe uninstalling and reinstalling. I don't think. So let me check to see in my archives to see if I have anything that is related to chart trading. Maybe I can pull it up from one of my ELDs. No, chart trading is not here. Go into another directory and find out. So when you go to is it this one? Let's go ahead and check. Let me go here, drag this over here. Next. No, this is something else. That's not it. It was called chart trading, but it's not the chart trading I was thinking of. Okay, so can it be exported though? Let's see. Let me go to here to file, import, export easy language. If we try to export chart trading, the chart trading is one that shows up. Mine, if you look at this one right here, is from the year 2017. So a lot of these easy language codes are really old, but some of them, are kind of new. So if you're importing from an ELD that I did, I may have gotten an older version of chart trading, and I believe the keyboard functionality is something a little bit more recent than 2017. I believe so. I may be wrong, but I need a newer version. So, okay, so it seems like Steve, your version was 110, which is the same Napoleon is saying that he has. I think that may be a newer version. So could someone export it and send it to me via email? I just don't, I think it'll be faster for me to get it and import it than, than uninstall and reinstall TradeStation. Let's see, this is not even related to a version. or a symbol. Yeah, that must have been it. Whenever I replaced everything, even though, Rich says that he did it too when we were together in class, and his says version 85. I don't know why, but maybe it's also because some of the documents folders and the TS Pro that ELD that we found, it's inside of the documents folder. And we know that when you uninstall and reinstall TradeStation, a lot of the files there are left behind. So that could explain the difference between what Rich sees and what I see. You, Rich, probably had a version of TS Pro that ELD that is newer than mine. But it seems like the current version should be 110 according. I'm gonna assume that is the most current version. Considering what Napoleon and Steve said, I'm gonna assume that that's the most current version. Let's see. Let's take a look at this one. Let's take a look at this other one. Let me go ahead and disable chart trading here, go to studies, add studies. There's a version here that I found in one of my directories. It has ZH at the end. I'm sure this is a custom chart trading tool that somebody modified, but this may have what I'm looking for. Uh-oh, got an events log, object reference not set up, not set to an instance of an object. Okay, just got an error. So there must be an easy language error in there. Okay, so let's go to studies, edit studies, and remove. Okay. All right, so how do we fix chart trading? Let me go back here into apps file. And if somebody is working on exporting that and sending it over to me, please let me know if you have been able to do it. That way I can look at my inbox and see if I receive it. Let's see who does it the quickest. That'll be an exercise on importing and exporting analysis techniques. What I did is I went here to import. I browsed, went into, yeah, this is the one that TS Pro 2017. So my version of TS Pro is from 2017. So this one right here, if I clear all and I select indicators and then clear all, we're going to see chart trading in here. Here it is, chart trading indicator. That's the one that I imported. That's the one that doesn't have the functionality that I'm looking for. All right. All right, so what I'm going to do is, unless somebody has sent it over to me that I can import it here, I'm just going to go ahead and uninstall TradeStation and reinstall it. I mean, that's the only, unless I can contact somebody.
I'm working on sending it to you. Give
Okay,
me
great.
a
Thank you.
second.
Take your time.
Until you said import export, I was like, how do I do this? So
You see?
I'm seeing it
So,
now. So
yeah, that's great.
let me,
Sometimes it's good. It's good to have problems like this because it helps you, revisit some functionality that you hadn't used before.
all right, I'm gonna try to email it to you now. So I'll let you know when I send it.
All right. And let's see if that does the trick. I'm hoping that that's going to do the trick. I'm pretty sure it will.
All right, I just emailed it to you.
Just got it, Steve. Thank you for that.
Okay.
I'm just
Hopefully
gonna
it's the file you want.
see, here's chart trading. It's finished. I want to say yes to all, overwrite. And if my transition breaks, it'll just be Steve's fault. Okay, so that should have replaced what I have in here. So let's turn on chart trading one more time. And there we go. Now it's back to where it was. So thank you for that, Steve. Okay,
You're
so
welcome.
the feature that I was looking for is this checkbox. And you can see the version's 110. Yeah, this new version does not update or does not resize properly. I'm using a magnification on my screen, and you can see that the font is still pretty small, but it's okay. If you guys have your platforms open, you can follow my cursor, you know, where I'm going to. But there's checkboxes right here on the trade bar of chart trading, and one of them says enable keyboard trading. When I check it, I get this keyboard active notice. It says pressing keys when keyboard trading is enabled can cause trades to be placed. Well, that's the whole intention why we're turning it on. But this, I guess the warning is always good to have there, just in case you're not aware of what keyboard trading means. Since keyboard trading allows you to map keys to actions, keys may not perform macro related functions. So take a look at this and hear this out. You know, when you enable keyboard trading, any other keyboard, you know, configuration that you've set up is ignored, which makes sense. You know, you don't want to have contradicting keyboard hotkeys. So whenever you enable keyboard trading, the only hotkeys that are going to be respected are the ones that relate to keyboard trading, not the macro functionality. Note that keyboard trading uses Control-Alt function keys, F1, F2, etc., numpad keys, and other keys, along with keys you've mapped. So these will not execute macros when keyboard trading is enabled. That's clear. If you have not mapped keystrokes to order actions, you can map keys now by clicking on the link below. There's a link here that says enable and map keys now, but this is the same thing as clicking on this little button on the right-hand side that has the 3 dots. It'll take you to the dialog where you can map keys. So I'm just going to say, don't show this again. I've read the message. I understand what it says, and I'm just going to go here straight to enable. When you enable chart trading, this is another thing that changed. Back in the days, the outline on the trade bar used to be bright yellow. Now they've made it orange, which is okay. It matches the text here that says enable keyboard trading. It still stands out a little, you know, and I'm okay with that. Let me change the symbol here just to do something. Okay. It's the same. There used to be a little button here also on the chart. I don't see it anymore, which is okay. I guess that's just a newer version of keyboard trading. But as long as you see the orange outline around the trade bar, you know that keyboard trading is enabled. If I click on the title bar, let's see, if I click elsewhere, let's go to my position graph bar just to check my positions. And then I come back. You can see how the chart trading keyboard trading goes into inactive. Right here at the top, it says click chart to activate keyboard trading. You no longer see that yellow outline around the trade bar. So you know that you cannot press hotkeys to place trades. As soon as I do one click on the chart, then it's back on, enabled, and I can press the hotkeys. Now, the hotkeys that, by the way, Rich, I can send you this same email that Steven sent me, and that way you can have this version as well. So whoever followed my instructions of importing from tspro.eld probably has an older version of chart trading. It should be 110. Okay, so send me an email, Rich, so I don't forget, and I'll send it over to you. Okay, so if I click on the chart, enabled. So what are the keys that I can use? Let's go here into the settings. And the dialog here is split up in 5 different tabs. We have the orders tab, the price tab, quantity, route, and other hotkeys that you can set up. You know, the orders, of course, very self-explanatory. It's going to generate an order. But the price and quantity and route are tabs where you can specify a hotkey to change any of these. Either if you want to change the price or change the quantity or change the route, you can do it with a separate hotkey. And in other, you have things like an OCO and OSO, which we're going to play with in a little moment. I'm going to go back here to orders. I'm not sure if this remembers any of my hotkeys, and I think it does. Even though I replaced the easy language code for chart trading, I think it still remembers some of the hotkeys that I had mapped previously. So that, of course, leads me to believe that this configuration is saved somewhere else outside the easy language. So these are not the hotkeys, for example, that Steve had in there, because you would think that if he sent me the easy language code, I would have his hotkeys. No, it seems like the hotkeys that are here were grabbed from somewhere else. There's another file in TradeStation that houses these files. I'm not sure where that file is, but you can. The good thing is that you can add, remove, and edit all these hotkeys if you want to. So what I did here in my TradeStation, like for example, if I wanted to buy at market, it's right here, buy cover at market. It's the same command to buy or to buy the cover. So that's why they're both combined. And that's why it's called buy cover. I mapped it to control M for market. So I want to do control M. I know that it's going to do a market order. But if I want to do a limit order, like a buy at limit, I do control L. And that would be a limit order. The reason why I use control is because if you guys know the functionality for chart trading, you know that in order to buy, you hold down the control and then you click on the chart. That's the way that chart trading works. So I use the same control key to generate a buy, but through the keyboard trading. So control M for market, control L for limit. What does the behavior look like? Well, let me go here to something where I don't have a position. Let me go and dock my position bar right here at the top. Let me go to, let's say, Twitter. I'm going to click on the chart to activate keyboard trading. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to hit Control M. And it says, action buy to cover at market. Do you want to perform this keyboard action? So there's a confirmation turned on by default. I'm going to disable confirmations, so don't show extra order confirmations. And I'm going to say yes. Order filled. So it fills my order, and I have 100 shares of Twitter right here on the screen. Now, I didn't have to create a macro. So a lot of times, you know, some of the keyboard trading functionality that is inside of chart trading is a little simpler. And the nice thing is that I can keep on hitting Control M. Order filled. And I hit it just 5 times, and now I have 500 shares of Twitter. What if I wanted to, because these are some of the things that I think about, you know, what if I wanted to do a hotkey that buys 500 from the get-go without me having to press the key 5 times? Let me go ahead and close this trade. If I go over here to my orders, I mapped the selling. Sell at market, it's set to Alt M. So Alt is the key that you use to sell in chart trading. And I just combine it with M, sell at market, and I have an Alt L, which is sell at limit. So I'm going to go to cancel, because if I hit, you know, my sell keyboard hotkey, which is Alt M, order fill, it just sells it just sells 100. Why is it selecting 100? Not because it's part of the hotkey combination. It's just because it's what the default value is up here on the trade bar. So it uses whatever quantity you have up there in order to put it into your macro. So before you submit the macro, check the quantity to make sure it's a quantity you want to sell or to buy. Right now, I have 400 shares remaining of Twitter. One thing that I can do is I can click on the P right here on the trade bar, and it'll automatically populate my quantity with the shares that I own. So you see the 400 in there. So now that I click on or press Alt M, order fill, it sells the remaining 400 because it uses the quantity up here. Can you create hotkey that are specific to a specific quantity? No, that's something you can do on the macros side. You can create order macros that have specific quantities and have, different hotkeys based on each one of the quantities, which is convenient. Here you are dependent on the quantity that is on the trade bar, and whenever you execute the macro, it'll use that quantity. At least for these types of macros, which are the market orders. When you select a limit order, it's a different story. Let me go ahead and do a limit order. I'm going to buy on limit, so I'm going to do Control L. Control limit, two things happen. First of all, I see a line, and the line appears at 51.12. The current price is 51.16, so there's like a little buffer that is created, giving you a visual of where the order is going to be placed. Now that buffer, that area between the last traded price and what your order is going to be placed at can be edited. If I go back in here to the configuration of my hotkeys, if I go over to, no, not here, it wasn't here. It's in settings, I believe it's in settings. Yeah, when you go to settings, there's a keyboard tab that allows you to specify what are the default settings for my keyboard trading. Here are the offsets for stops and the offsets for limits. You can see that it's set to five minimum ticks. So in this case, it actually placed that line. This is not an order yet. It's just a visual, a horizontal line placed at 5 cents below the last traded price. Okay. And of course, offsets are going to vary by asset type. So if you bring up a futures symbol, just come here and check those offsets. But what I'm showing you is that they can be edited so that whenever you put in or press the hotkey for a limit order, it will be exactly at the space that you want. This is keyboard order preview windows location on a chart. Yeah, what this controls is the position of this little preview window. Now, you're probably going to see that Twitter and the 5112 and Intelligent, everything is kind of jumbled up together. And I think that's because of my screen magnification. When I said that this new version of chart trading doesn't play well with my magnification, I think it affects that as well. If your information is neat inside that little window, then that's the way it should look. It should not look like this, but that's my own doing because of my screen settings, okay? So let me know if you guys see this information inside the little window, because that's where it should be, okay? In the little window, you see the price that the order is going to be placed at, the route, and the number of shares. Now, we already said and talked about the three things that you can order, the three things that you can change with a hotkey. You can change the quantity, you can change the price, and you can change the route. Where do we see those? Again, we go to the mapping dialog, and that's where you find the price. How do we adjust the price? Well, if you want to adjust the price by 1 tick, you use the down arrow. If you want to adjust the price by 5 ticks, you use the control plus the down arrow. And if you want to adjust it by 10 ticks, you use the alt plus the down arrow. And of course, if you want to adjust it, up. If you want to adjust it down, you do the opposite, down arrow. Okay? I may have said that backwards, but you get the idea. Up arrow to increase, down arrow to decrease. So if I wanted to, let me go back out of this. If I wanted to put my order at 51.10, all I need to do is press the down arrow key a couple times, and you can see how the line shifts to 51.10. Very easy. And if I do control arrow down, it goes down in increments of 5 cents. And if I do alt and down, it'll be in increments of 10 cents. Everybody sees that? It's just a line. That's not replacing the order. It's just giving you a different visual of the order. Another thing that you can adjust, of course, is the quantity. The quantity, let's see. Set quantity. You can either, I mean, there's different options here. Decrease quantity by 1 tick, page down. So if you have to locate the page down and page up buttons on your keyboard. That's if you do control, if you hold down the control with the page down, you're decreasing by 2. And alt page down, decreasing by 5. This is the quantity. Now the quantity, in this case, I'm not sure if it's just 1 share or 100 shares. We're going to test that in just a moment, okay? Page up are the other keys to increment quantity. But I've also, you also get the ability to set the quantity by a hotkey. So I've set my specific quantities here to Alt 1 to 100, Alt 2 to 200. Control for a percentage. So control 1, 10%, control 5, 50%. Interesting. So let's go ahead and take a look at some of the keys that I've mapped here. So let's go ahead and cancel out of this. The quantity, it's unfortunate that the quantity is right on top of the route. So it's kind of jumbled up together. You cannot read that, but hopefully on your screens, it looks fine and it's legible. But you can see the 400 in there right behind the word intelligent. I wanted to do the page down one time and see what happens. Okay, so the quantity does drop to 300. And you can see the 300 here in the quantity box as well. So even though we went to the mapping dialog and it said 1, I believe it just means 1 round lot. So if I press the page down one more time, you see now you see 200. So you can change the quantity also with the hotkey. So if I didn't have this preview, which I can get out of by just pressing the escape key, and if I do control limit one more time, I see the visual, and then I can do page down or page up if I wanted to increase or decrease, the amount. Now, one thing that happens here is that I went all the way down with page down, and notice how it set the quantity to 1 because it cannot set the quantity to 0. But now if I go page up one time, you see how it goes to 101 and 201? It's not able to see. That's one of the things that I would change or enhance. If I'm dropping the quantity all the way to 1 and I press page up, what I'm expecting to happen is for this to go to 100, not to go to 101. But it does go to 101. And how do I reduce it? How do I remove that 1 share? Well, I cannot do the hotkey anymore. I can either press the directional arrows here, which doesn't do that either. I'd have to enter the quantity myself or set it with the other hotkeys that I set up. If you guys remember, I think I said Alt 2 to be 200. So check out the quantity here. I'm going to hold down the control key and press the number 2. And it says here the calculated quantity is less than 1. The quantity has been set to 1. Oh, because I believe, let me go back in there and see what the key is. Quantity, Alt 2, it's supposed to be 200. Maybe I held the wrong key down. So let's take a look at the quantity again. I'm going to do Alt 2. There we go. For some reason, I held down Control, and Control is I mapped it to percentages, which didn't quite, calculate correctly. So Alt 2 populates with 200. And once I'm ready, I just hit the Enter key and the order is submitted. It's a little bit clunky, right? I mean, it's not, I guess it takes a little bit of using or getting used to submit orders like that. One of the things that I can do though, I do have a hotkey for canceling the order. So in the orders dialog, I can cancel all open orders, Control X, or cancel selected order is delete. Cancel open orders in closed position, if any, Alt X. So in order for you to cancel the selected order, let me show you a trick, because I know that I have an order here, but how do I know it's selected? Well, it's not. If you press the tab key, that's when you know it's selected. Let me escape. Just press the tab key once, and it kind of just highlights it. You can see the horizontal line, and then I can press delete on the keyboard, which cancels the order. So I guess this would help a lot if you're a keyboard person, you know? All right, I'm gonna place a trade here. I'm gonna buy, let's say 300 shares of Twitter at $51. I'm gonna do Control L, right? I'm gonna do Control down at $51. They said 300, so all three, and then hit enter. Now, what's quicker for you to do this with hotkeys or to do it on the trade bar? I guess it all depends on how quick you are using the keyboard versus the mouse. You know, test it out because I guess there's an added value of being able to place trades using keyboard. It sounds like it's a little bit more. It's a little bit faster if you don't have to change quantities or different aspects of the order. Again, to cancel that order, tab, delete, takes it off. You know, pretty cool, huh? So let's go ahead and do something else. Let me go back in here into the mapping. Let me show you another example with an OSO. So order sends order. Alt N, select next, okay. Exit order preview dialog. Okay, so this is not to place the OCO, this is just to select the next one in the dialog. Which I really, didn't really understand. Again, unless you are very quick at pressing keyboard, I just find that I can just very quickly come here to the drop down and select the drop or the the OCO or OSO that I want. I really don't need a hotkey to go to the next OCO or the next OSO, but it's there. If I go to the orders, the way that I place an OCO is Alt O, and the toggle of OSO is Control O. Well, another thing is to remember all these hotkeys so you know exactly what you're doing, right? So what this is doing is that if I do Control O, take a look at what's happening here on the attach OSO. So Control O just gets rid of that checkbox, which sometimes it's convenient, sometimes we forget to uncheck it, but it's happened to me before, where I forget to uncheck it, and every other order that I do after that has that attachment, and it's not what I was intending. So Control O gets rid of it, Alt O places, now be careful because I've mapped Alt O to whatever OCO it's in the dialog. So let me go ahead and cancel this. Control X cancels all active orders. Now, if you take a look at what's happening here on the entry BF buy, if I do Alt N, what is it, Alt N or Control N? Control N. If I do Control N, see that's where my cursor is, right? So if I do Control N, it'll cycle through all the different templates in there. Control N, Control N. Okay, so you can choose which one you want to use. Let's say we want to do the exit breakout. This one right here, entry breakout. So it's selected and I do Control O. Is it Control O or Alt O? There we go, Alt O to place a trade. So the trade is there. Now Control X cancels all my order. If I wanted to attach an OSO, let me do Control O. Control O checks the box here for attach OSO. And then if I do Alt O, this gives me my entry breakout with the exits attached, a total of 6 different orders connected together. Control X cancels all my orders. So what I recommend you guys do is you sit down and test the functionality and see if it's something that you would want to use. When I first saw it, I thought, oh, how cool this is, For some types of orders, it does require you to press, several hotkeys in sequence. But it's okay. If you are already on the keyboard, sometimes it's very quick for you to adjust the order before it's placed. Page up or page down would be a single increment. Yes, I noticed that here in my, on this account for stocks, for example, let me just show you, Marcel. If I go in here and for my quantity, my page up and page down says 1 increment. See, 1 increment, that's hard coded, cannot be changed. But if I put in a Control L, this is a limit order. A limit order for 300 shares because that's the quantity that's right here on the trade bar. But if I do page up, it changes the quantity to 400. So that 1 increment appears to be a 1 lot increment, which is interesting. Let's see if I go to futures, let's see if there's a difference. ESZ22. Okay, I click here. So let's go ahead and do Control L. That's my limit order for 1 contract, and page up. Yeah, it increases and decreases by 1. So that's true as well. But the functionality works really nice for stocks and for futures. It's very flexible. All right. Napoleon, do you have a question? Sorry, I didn't see your hand earlier.
Yes, Jesus, how you doing?
Doing well, thank you.
All right, I just got a quick question. Normally, I'm not a day trading, I'm on a swing trading. And my question is, do any way I can spread it out, those lines when I place the order? Because on a day chart, it's too narrow, the lines. Do any way I can spread that up? Give it more room so like that I can see clearly the numbers.
Okay. Yeah, I guess you're talking once the order is placed, right? If I place this order, you mean these orders you want to extend them to the left?
No, I want like more space up
To
and
the
down.
right?
Yeah, more space. Yeah, up and down.
Okay, so if it's up and down, that's all on the scale here. So I can just move it and adjust it, as much as I can.
Oh, that's it.
No, and I can also move the bars to the left if you want more space to the right. But yeah, the space vertically is all dependent on the scale. So if you need more space, just click and drag, and it'll expand the view a little bit more.
Okay, I see. Yeah, thank you, Jesus.
You're very welcome. Very welcome. All right. Any other questions about keyboard trading? Because that's pretty much it. It's a matter of going in there, explore all the different options that you can map hotkeys to. I think we have, I showed you how to do single orders like buy and selling transactions. I guess those are you can place those very quickly on the chart, especially if you're going to be doing, trades in sequence. If you're a day trader and actively send orders in and out very quickly, this is going to be a time saver. If you prepare the orders in advance and you take your time and you double check your work before placing a trade, maybe there's no need for you to use keyboard trading, because you might as well just use either chart trading or the trade bar to make sure that you are setting up your order correctly. I see this keyboard trading as a tool that somebody that's in and out very quickly to be using it, like during the day to get in and out. So that's my 2 cents in that functionality. So that's it. Thank you guys for joining me today and explore. If you have any questions on any of these features, let me know and we'll address those tomorrow during my Ask the Experts at 11:30. Okay. Have a wonderful afternoon and thank you for joining me today. Bye-bye.